Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm excited. We have got the brand new U series of watches in. This is the limited edition U15. We also got a U16 and U18, which I'll do later videos of. But just look at it. These are absolutely gorgeous. Where they actually get the name from on these is the German U-boats they were used on. This one here even has a silhouette of the Type 206 submarine on the back of it. This was a submarine which was introduced, I think, in the mid-60s, though it had problems, and that was to do with the steel used. And later they came up with a new steel, which they've used on these. The actual U15 boat itself was in the, I think it was commissioned in the early 70s, and then was decommissioned around about 2010, and later was scrapped in 2003, and that's where this steel actually comes from. But before I get too far ahead of myself, I've got to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches of Kenilworth for allowing me to review this piece. So many cool, interesting watches like you can see here. So I'd strongly recommend, if you're in the Midlands area of the UK, to pop into their shop, have a look. If you're a bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below and at the bottom of the page. Now, all I ask is that you do mention the channel. So let's talk sizes first. It has a case size of 40mm, but the bezel size is 41mm. The thickness of the watch is coming in at a very respectable 11.2mm. The lug-to-lug, so the longest point across the body of the watch there, is 47mm, and the bracelet size on this model is 20mm. The dial on this, I think, is absolutely stunning. Sinn have really upped their game on many of aspects of their dials of late, especially on things like the Sinn 903s, stuff like that. And the dial on this is no exception. It has got a beautiful depth to it. It's one of those real inky kind of glossy dials. Its colour is a bit strange. In certain lights, it's a green. Some people have said it's a blue, but it's kind of like a turquoise, really. But in most lights, like now, it looks black, and you just get the outline of these bubbles coming up to the surface as they go there. I think this must be one very expensive dial for them to produce. It really is a lovely looking dial. I'm enamored by it, so much so I would love to own this watch. It is absolutely stunning. We've got the standard kind of printed hour and minute track going around here. This, after all, is based on a U50, but with that lovely, stunning dial. And I really like it. The lume on this watch is very, very good. The black gloss on the hands is just so thickly applied. You get a real dome to it. You can just, it's almost like ink on the hands. It looks absolutely stunning. We have a date window over here at the 3 o'clock position, which has the complementary black background on there, which is so much better. If that would have been white, I just don't think it would have looked right. They've done such a good job here. I love how it's hard to tell on this, but it's almost like there's a texture to the outside of the bubbles. I'm not quite sure how they've done it, but it looks superb. And then obviously you have the U15 written down here and the type of submarine it was used on and so forth there, which is actually very, very cool. I say this is a limited edition model. There is only 1,000 of these being made, and they have got individual numbers on the back, which is a little bit unusual for Sinn. They've started doing normally 1 of 1,000, but this actually does have a limited edition number on the back, which I think is just a little bit cooler, because then you got an idea of whereabouts in the scale of things this one was made, and I do like that. But overall, I think the dial is absolutely breathtaking on this one. It really is a very classy looking dial. Now, as we come past that, we have a flat sapphire crystal on this one. It has AR coating on both sides and does a really good job at keeping reflections down to an absolute minimal. The bezel on this, I love the colour of this watch, what they've done here. We have this really very, very sharp looking details here with the minute track. Is it printed? Is it? No, it is actually These are recessed down, and this has one of Zinn's kind of technologies on there called TEGIMENT, and it's basically an incredibly hard scratch resistant hardening process which goes on. This should be around about 1200 Vickers hard. Trust me, that is very hard. I'm not going to say you can't scratch it, because obviously you could if you really went for it, but we have once dragged one of these bezels across a concrete wall, and it was surprising. There was just no scratches, so it really is very, very impressive. I love the sunburst effect going on here, how it comes out. You see those lines emanating from the centre and coming out there, and then you've got this kind of blue tints going on for the minute markers as we come past the 15. I think it looks so sharp and good. They've really done a very classy job on this. One thing I should mention, this is a 500 metre certified dive watch, and it's only 11.2 mil thick. You know, not that many people are ever going to actually test it out to 500, down to 500 metres, but the watch is capable of doing that. Let's have a listen to the action. Very precise, very snappy. How much back play is there? There is a bit until it locks into position, but it does feel quite tight, to be fair. It is actually, yeah, it does feel very, very sturdy on there. You've got to apply a little bit of force to get it to turn. It is very, very nice. It looks like it's a 60 click bezel, so that's 1 click per minute on there. And it also features, yes, the captive bezel system. So I mentioned it before on many, you might have seen on many channels where people pop a bezel off a watch. They normally put a case knife and just pry it off. This is the same on most Omegas, Rolexes, and so forth like that. This has got such a more elegant system where you just back off these screws here. Don't remove them all the way, just back them off slightly. There's normally one set one at 12 o'clock, but there isn't actually on this one. Have they done it at 3? Yeah, they've done it at 3. So basically you leave that one in position and you just back the others off, and then normally you can just lift the bezel off as so. It is a much better way of doing it. I also like the fact that on the bezel here, they have got a polished section going around. And it is just these contrasts between the radial brushwork there, the sunburst patterning there, and these lovely polished edges. To me, one thing normally was in watches, they make really cool tool watches, but they can sometimes, if they're all bead blasted finishes, they can look a little bit dull on the wrist, where this will stand out. And the one advantage this finish has, this satinized finish they have on the case, it is so easy to reapply if you actually scuff it in any way. So this is a doddle, and you can do it at home even yourself, where if you actually mark a bead blasted finish, you've got to have the whole thing re-blasted again, which can be problematic, and you need to know someone who can actually do it properly. So on this one, this finish here is very good. Some people may say it's not very Zinn-like, but then I'd like to point out that it's exactly the same finish you get on a 556. So, do bear that in mind. We do have drilled lugs on this. One thing I must say, this on a white silicone strap from Zinn, I think would look fantastic. Again, it would be a very nice feature. Over here, we have a signed screw-down crown. Let's unscrew that. Plenty of thread, pops out nicely there, and we can screw it back in, and there you go. So yeah, that is very, very nice. The case back is solid on this one, as you can see there. So we have a solid case back. Underneath there we have the SW300 movement. That's basically a clone of the ETA 2892, which is a super robust solid movement. It's a step up from what you find on the SW200, and it has got a beautiful buttery smooth wind. If I wind this, let's unscrew. There is nothing to hear. It is so smooth. Now I put this one on the time grapher. I think it was pulling plus 3 seconds. This, you've normally got I think it's 25 joule on this one, and another upgrade. You get 56 hours normally of power out of one of these versus the 38 from the actual SW200. It's also a thinner, more modern movement, and I say it's a joy to work on. It is a really, really cracking movement. So anyway, as we come past that, as I say, we've got this satinized finish to the actual H-link there. And again, if you were to scuff this, you can easily bring it back to life. It's, you know, no problems at all. We have got the hex key screws going in there instead of standard screws, and you do get all the hardware in the actual case. I must say also, in the case, you do actually get a segment of the hull from the U15. It's completely useless to you, but it just looks very cool. That has actually been taken out of a hull. It is very, very impressive. The clasp on this is the new style fold over with on-the-fly micro adjustment. It's a nice looking thing, a little bit chunky as we pull it out, and you can see here it's got the new style which they've introduced on all their new models. The original models of this clasp didn't have this groove going down there and so were thinner. If you release this button there, you can see you do get the extension piece coming out there. So there you go, that's it in a position there. Overall, I think this is one really cracking looking watch. Let me do a wrist check so you can see how it looks. Let me just zoom out here. Okay, as I said, I'm wearing the 556, and if I hold that next to it, you'll see what I mean about it being exactly the same finish. This is always so much easier to, I say, to bring back to life if you do scuff it. I think this just looks so much, I think it looks really premium in this finish. Bob has got the U16 model there, and just for fun, we also have the U18 model there. Now, I'm going to do a side-by comparison of these two models. Many people think they are the same, but they are very, very different models. So my wrist size is 7¼ inches, which works out to around about 18.5 centimeters, and that's it on my wrist. It is a cracking watch. Out of the 3 models, there's no ifs or buts. This is the one I would take every day of the week. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Sinn have really knocked it out of the park with this one. Anyway, let me know what you think of this one, guys. And most importantly, you all stay safe up there. See you at the next review. Take care. Bye.